so many people are trying to be everywhere, but you don't even know how to use the platform. So you are trying to be like, oh my God, I need to be everywhere. I need to be omnipresent. But then if you actually don't know how to be found in that platform, it doesn't even matter. Now, I want you to know this. The visibility I'm going to talk about today has nothing to do about that. People, welcome to another episode of the Be Brand podcast. Today, I want to talk content versus visibility, the key to standing out in your niche. Now, the reason I chose this is because I hear people complaining about not getting content engagement or their Instagram not growing, all these different things. I kind of want to shed some light on what is the difference between actually creating content and actually having visibility and why you need both and how do you need it? So let's get started because your dream ain't gonna go fucking build itself. So we have to do things in order to build your dream, your business. And this is one of those. So this is the thing. Now more than ever, building your personal brand is a freaking mess. Now, people think that building a personal brand is gonna happen in like 3.5 minutes, that you're gonna put 3 posts out there and actually people know who you are, what you do, what you stand for, how they can work for you. This is the thing. I want you to think about this. Every time you post, literally there is another 100 people, 200 people, 300 people posting at the same time. Now, I am not saying this to actually freak you out, but I am saying this so you understand that the person that is on the other side of the phone, right? Like if you're watching, I have my phone, and they're scrolling, they're not necessarily, number one, seeing every post that you put out there. Actually is in the contrary, about 3% of your followers and your audience see your post. So even if you feel like you are posting a lot and that you are doing a ton of content, this may not be true. So the other thing is people confuse putting content out there with being visible. So I want to explore today the difference between content and visibility for you, what role each plays, and how you can benefit from using both so you can actually stand out in your niche. So let's fucking go. So let's talk about content first. Your content is there to do a few different things. Your content is there to inform your audience of who you are, what you do, what you stand for. It's there to nurture the people that find you. It's there also to create that know, like, and trust between you and a possible client, maybe a prospect. Now, this is the thing. We always talk about 3 different types of content. We talk about educational content, inspirational content, and we talk about conviction. Yes, you need all of these types of content, and you also need this content to be of quality. Now, you can be doing all of those things and still having your content not be seen and not be found. And this is where visibility comes in. You understanding this potentially can change your whole fucking business. So let's think about this. There is a few ways that you can do this on the platforms, right? Through SEO and keywords and hashtags and all of that. And yes, that will get the actual platform. And again, I want you to know that I'm not talking about these platforms as a specific platform. The reason why I'm actually saying this, and I think I'm going to go on a tangent here, but the reason why I'm saying this is because so many people are trying to be everywhere, but you don't even know how to use the platform. So you are trying to be like, oh my God, I need to be everywhere. I need to be omnipresent. But then if you actually don't know how to be found in that platform, it doesn't even matter. Now, I want you to know this. The visibility I'm going to talk about today has nothing to do about that. That is a completely different training, but I want you to understand this. You can be creating amazing content. You can be creating educational, conviction, inspirational. You can be sharing testimonials, all of the things, and still not be found on social media. So let's explore now what am I talking about when I am talking about visibility. So visibility is you consciously bringing more eyeballs into your content and into your world, not just your content, okay? So in all of the different ways that I'm going to break it down. And of course, there is nuances to this because we don't just want any eyeballs. We want the right eyeballs. What does this mean? We want the right clients. We want our ideal client listening to our content, looking to our content, reading through our content. And why am I saying that? It's because, again, nuances. People think of content as just Instagram, just Facebook. Well, right now, you're listening to this podcast or you're watching this video. This is content. So anything that you put out in the world where you are providing value, you're educating, you're putting your thought leadership out there, it's content. It's supposed to inform people about who you are, what you do, what you stand for. So I think that there is this idea that if you are just on Instagram, you're going to make $1 million, and it's absolutely possible. However, you get to do it in any way that you want, whatever feels right for you. But the thing is, if you can be writing the blog, putting the video, doing the podcast, doing the content, doing the videos, doing the reels, and nobody's seeing them. So visibility is your consciously bringing more eyeballs into your content, whatever that content is, and into your world in all the different ways. So the way we teach visibility inside of the Be Brand Academy, because we don't want you to just rely on Instagram, on LinkedIn, on TikTok, because they can go away anytime. And I'm not going just to talk about your email list, which is super important, by the way. But the way I'm going to teach you visibility today is in this way. We actually, inside of the academy, we teach a 90-day sprint. And what we talk about is how can you put yourself in front of more people, and how can you leverage even those people to bring more eyeballs into your content. So we do this in 3 ways. Number 1 is coming from you, visibility to your audience. This is where content comes in. So is you hosting masterclasses, you hosting lives on Instagram or LinkedIn or whichever platform you have, you hosting conversion events, maybe your podcast, maybe your blog. This is you, how you are putting stuff out in the world to be seen, okay? Now, why am I putting this here is because you still have to do both. When I talk about content and visibility, they go hand in hand together. And I'm going to actually explain this to you towards the end, but I want you to understand that you still need to create content, okay? So this is where you can do trainings, you can do in-person trainings, you can present in front of other audiences, right? So number 1 is you creating content for your people. Number 2 is actually what I call relationship marketing. This is where you are growing your network. Okay, I was just talking to an actual friend of mine, like he's actually really, really new in business. And he was like, but I don't know anybody that I just became a life coach. I have this certification, I have this passion, but I don't know anybody. And I was trying to explain this to him. I'm like, I am 7 years into my business and I act as if I didn't know anybody. I am constantly growing my network. I am constantly meeting new people. I am constantly putting myself in new rooms with bigger and bigger people, bigger than me. Now, I want you to understand this. You have to fill in your network with people you are aligned with. We go in super depth on this inside of the academy because I know how hard it is to maybe go to networking events and be like, but these are not my people. So it's super, super important that you understand how to find your people. This comes down to you understanding what kind of collaborations you can do, what kind of people you want to build your business with, what kind of clients you're looking for, and who is your ideal client. And number 3 is leveraging borrow audiences. Now, this is where what you're actually doing is you're leveraging the relationships that you created when you are expanding your network. So what this means is you going into other people's podcasts, maybe you teaching on other people's Facebook groups, you speaking at other people's events, you supporting other people's products or launches, stuff like that, where these people have a completely different audience that you have. So I want you to think about this. When somebody comes into my podcast and you as a listener, you don't know them, that person just got exposed to a completely new listener, to a completely new person. If you have been listening to the other episodes of the Be Brand podcast, the last 5 episodes, I have been talking about doing the inner work and how that has changed everything for me and my clients. So if you want to upgrade your beliefs to match the income that you actually want to make, realize how fun can be to run your business, sell, make content, aka all your income producing activities, forge your new winner's identity, let go of anything that is stopping you from making more and taking bold action. Right now, we are running my first ever inner work program. This is the same 6-figure inner work framework that I use to take my business to multiple 6 figures. It's called Your Highest Self, Your Highest Income. Is running right now. It started Monday 26, and you still have time to join us. So if you want more information, go to the link on the show notes. If you're in YouTube, go to the link under the video and send me a DM on Instagram. If you have any questions, you can still join us. This is a 2-week program to get you fast and amazing result. I can't wait to see you on the inside. And if those people, and they sure are, the people that come into my podcast, they usually are people that you are interested in, because that is how I'm curating this. Immediately, you may be curious about what they have to offer. And now you go to follow them either on social media, download their freebie, whatever it is that they are doing to bring you into their world. Okay, so until now, we talked about content needs to be there because people cannot see what doesn't exist. And then the 3 types of visibility that we teach, okay? So I'm going to recap them for you. Number 1, you creating content so people can see it. I love you creating educational content like masterclasses, workshops, mini trainings, all of that, because that is positioning you as an expert, and that is bringing people into your audience that already are interested in what you have to offer. Now, the second one, we talked about relationship marketing, and the third one, we talked about leveraging the audiences of your network. Now, this is my favorite one, and I actually want to give you an example of this. In October last year, I spoke at a live event. This was the biggest event that I spoke to, and there was about 300 women in the audience. Well, out of all the people that I met, about 4 of those people in that audience became clients. These are high-ticket clients. 1 person bought a VIP, and then I got hundreds of new people into my email list. Now, why this is important is because this was the perfect audience for me. So you have to make sure that you're putting yourself in rooms where you are absolutely aligned with the host, with the person that is hosting the event, even if it is a networking event. Let's talk about audience for a sec. The quality of your audience, people, freaking matters. The audience that you cultivate freaking matters. Because I think that a lot of us, and this actually happened to me when I first started my Instagram account in particular, I think that one of the things that happened, I had so many coaches kind of predating on me because it was a new account. Now, I came from having all these other accounts, but people didn't know that. So I was being targeted by a lot of other coaches. And one of the things that I did is I was very good at creating relationships. And I actually started meeting a ton of people that would come into that account because I wanted to see who was finding me. I wanted to see who were these people, why the people that were my actual clients were not finding. So I want you to understand that followers and audience is not the same thing. Followers and audience is not the same thing. Your followers can be your 5,000 friends from your previous career that you pivoted and you have nothing to do with that anymore. Hello, my name is Ati, and I used to be a flair bartender. I stopped growing an account with over 6,000 followers because they were not the right followers. And when I pivoted my business, I started at zero because I only wanted an audience that was interested in building a personal brand. They were interested in becoming more of who they already are and build a business that was heart-centered. So those people in that other account, not my people. Okay. So I want you to know this because I think that so many times we obsess over followers. I'm going to tell you a secret. I didn't even intentionally started growing my Instagram until about January this year. We're in February. But the reason for that is because my account was growing from these efforts, from me going to other people's podcasts, from me speaking, from me really putting myself out there. And what happened was these people are super engaged because this is people you met in person. This is people actually care about what you have to say. So for me, this is the most beautiful way of building an actual engaged following. I love thinking about social media as a huge networking event. This is kind of how I tell my clients. I'm like, if you had to go network every single day, you would have to get ready and you would have to do your hair and you would have to do your makeup and drive to the venue and actually meet maybe 3 or 4 people that are aligned with you. But in social media and online, you get to meet so many people. One of the biggest investments that I ever made in my business, I invested in a $20,000 mastermind. And it was because I wanted to be surrounded with those women that were there. And from those relationships came sales, speaking events, podcasts, visibility, collaborations, all the things that I'm talking about. Because you always want to be growing your network with people that are either just like you or they're way ahead of you. I personally like to be in rooms where I am the dumbest person in the room because I always want to be growing. I always go into rooms where I'm like, okay, there is a person there that she's doing what I want to do. I want to learn how she's doing it. And then I want to make it mine, right? My own way. But I want you to understand that followers and audience is not the same thing. Something we do on the Be Brand Academy that I love and our clients love is we run a 90-day visibility sprint each quarter. Now, what this is literally a spreadsheet where we have the 3 types of visibility, right, that we talked about. And we challenge our students or clients to actually make sure that they're doing 1 a week, minimum every single week. So this would look something like this for you. Next week, do you have a podcast in your schedule? Or do you have a networking event? Or are you hosting some sort of live masterclass, mini training for your community that you are inviting people into? Now, ideally, as you grow into your business, you want to have these 3 weekly in your calendar, but we teach people to start where they're at because we want to make sure that it's hard to be everywhere. And as your business grows, your focus needs to grow too. Because the thing is, you start creating content and then you didn't create a live and then you didn't go network and all of a sudden you stop growing. So we do this and we love the results that our people are getting from this because it creates a structure. And then also you can track your progress, right? Because you have it in Excel sheet. So you can see, okay, how many podcasts have I done this year? I'm going to give you an extra tip in here. That is, I personally have a specific freebies and things that I give people away depending on the podcast. So I can say, okay, how many people came into my world through me podcasting at the end of the quarter, right? Because that way you can start tracking, okay, are my efforts paying off? Is my visibility? Do I need to change the kind of podcast am I going? Do I need to change the networking events am I going? My time and my activities actually turning into clients. So I want to kind of bring all this together for you to close this super Monday motivation, go grow your visibility and content and business. So to bring all this together for you, I want you to imagine this. I call this the cycle of content. Now, if you're listening to the podcast, you can later go to YouTube because I'm actually showing this on the screen on the YouTube channel. So I want you to think all the activities of your business as a wheel, okay? So when you're in your business and you are doing all of these activities, right? You are posting, you are creating video, you are doing connection calls. We talked about you going to podcasts. Now, people are coming into your world from all of these visibility activities, right? You doing video, you creating the content, you going to podcasts, you going to speak on stage, etc. Side note for you, all of these activities are demonstrating your expertise. They're giving people a sense of repetition, which makes them know, like, and trust you for a particular thing. In my case, it's personal branding, inner work, being yourself, growing a profitable personal brand, all of those things. Now, people are coming into your world from all of those places. Now, I want you to think about this. You meet somebody at a networking event, or somebody sees you at a speaking engagement, or they listen to you on a podcast, and then they come to your social media and there is nothing, or your content sucks. Guess what? You just lost them. And this is where these two things collapse. So content without visibility is nothing, and visibility without content is nothing. You need both in order to constantly be growing. And something that we're not going to talk about this today, but I have an episode planned on this, is having a clear offer. Do people know how they can work with you? Are you talking about what is that you are selling right now at this very moment, and how actually you can help people truly grow or change or transform or have a solution with what it is that you offer? So this cycle of content, it's something that I explain to people all the time. And the reason for that is because people in general, a lot of my clients, they come to me and they're either doing all of the networking, they're doing a lot of the things, but their content sucks, or they don't have any, or they're doing the content, they're posting, but nobody's seeing it. So I hope that this episode was like light bulb moment for you, because I know it is for a lot of my clients. I would love if you can take your favorite takeaway from this and tag me on your stories, or go leave us a review. My goal is to get this podcast to as many women building a personal brand as possible, so they can build a life and a business that they absolutely love. I hope that you have an amazing week. I'll see you next Monday. Thank you.